Welcome back to Telltale. Continuing my Arthur C. Clarke series in this video, his number 4 story, titled Into the Past, was published in a fanzine called The Satellite in December 1939. And I have not been able to find that issue of that fanzine. It has not been reprinted in any other collections or anthologies. So this story, as far as I'm concerned, is lost to me. And I cannot read it and report to you on that story, which is unfortunate. It sounds interesting. So that was his 4th published work in December of 1939. In March 1940, he published, also in that same fanzine, The Satellite, he published At the Mountains of Murkiness, which is a short story. And it is based, of course, on H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. As you can guess, it's kind of a satire on Lovecraft's fiction, even though he did like the Cthulhu Mythos. He chose to write a story which kind of criticized it, and, well, maybe he didn't criticize it, but just had fun with it, and just was kind of silly with the whole concept of At the Mountains of Madness. And that story in recent times has been reprinted a number of times. The earliest reprinting I could come across is in this book, The Antarctos Cycle, which was published by Chaosium. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it. They're the company that put out the Call of Cthulhu games, and they did a very large series of books collecting the literature, not just Lovecraft's work. This book has, of course, At the Mountains of Madness and Antarctos by Lovecraft, but it also has the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket by Edgar Allan Poe, and it has a story by Colin Wilson, The Thing from Another World by John W. Campbell, and, of course, At the Mountains of Murkiness by Arthur C. Clarke. I bought the book primarily so I could read this story and do this video, but this sounds like a really wonderful book. You can find used copies online if you look. You might have to pay a little bit for them, but it's worth it. It's a trade paperback, but a well done, beautiful illustration on the cover. It's a good book. So At the Mountains of Murkiness, of course, just like At the Mountains of Madness, you have an expedition into Antarctica, and they find this lost city that is the dwelling of the elder gods, the elder ones, whatever you want to call them, just like Lovecraft. But throughout this story, Clarke takes a very humorous slant on it. The elder gods turn out to be kind of like stuffy British hosts, like you're walking into an upper crust British home, and they are trying to be your hosts and are trying to be nice to you. It's the way I can't restate it in any way that does justice to the humor. It actually is funny. There's a lot of science fiction, fantasy, horror stories that try to be funny and completely fall flat. This one, I don't feel it does. I thought it was very humorous. It's really, you have to know Lovecraft a little bit to get the humor, why it's so funny, the way he characterizes the elder gods. But it's a very good book. A very good story, short story. And I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't call it a top tale, but I would recommend you track it down and read it. There are other books that it's available in. So Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 different collections of Cthulhu related fiction that has this story in it. So you should be able to find it pretty easy. And so that is number 5 of Arthur C. Clarke. And I'm going to be moving on next into, well, out of the fanzines and into more professional publications. At least I think so. Was first published in Zenith, with a revised version published in 1952. So the story is called The Awakening. So I'll be checking that one out. I'll check out both versions and talk about the differences, and I'll be back here with that. And I hope you will join me and like us and subscribe to us. Check out our Etsy store. Maybe help us out on our Patreon. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. We post content. Keep following us and leave comments also. Have you read this story? What did you think? And I will see you in the next video.